Hey guys, Jen here. Many of you know me as Bella and have been following my story online. I'm a teacher for West Ada and my students also attend West Ada. They have been denied access to an education because we refuse to wear masks for medical and religious beliefs. We have worn visors since the very beginning of the school year, but that has, it's not enough anymore. And we've been told that we have to either wear masks, get a 504 plan, or a signed doctor's permission slip, and we absolutely have been refusing that because it breaks very many laws. Today I want to just talk about how to file a human rights complaint if you feel like your civil rights have been trampled upon, like they are being with me. I want to take just a second first to just thank everybody who is sharing out my videos, who's coming down to support us on January 7th at the district office to help fight for parents, teachers, and students to have a voice, not the minority voice of the teachers union or Dr. Pate, who got 2 hours to bloviate while parents weren't allowed any time to discuss their concerns and their rights. So I'm hoping that these videos can continue to be shared, and I just want to thank you for supporting us and for sharing my videos. So I have filed a human rights civil complaint with they're called the Idaho Human Rights Commission. Now this is basically Idaho's Justice Department, you can say. I'm going to read you off of this website what they say that their purpose is. I'm going to talk to you about how to file a complaint and the different types of discrimination. And I'm hoping that if you feel like you've been discriminated against, that you will today file a complaint with the Civil Rights Commission. So it's humanrights.idaho.gov, and I'm just on their overview page. It says the Idaho Human Rights Commission is an independent agency established by the Idaho legislature to help protect persons within the state from illegal discrimination. The purpose section of the Idaho Human Rights Act states that the IHRA is intended to provide for execution within the state of policies embodied in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Age Discrimination Employment Act of 1967, and Title I and Title III of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's ADA. That's the law that I spoke about in my previous video. Now, I'm just going to pull up this website for you so you can see. Okay, so I'm on humanrights.idaho.gov, just on their overview page. And if you see here, there's several different types of discrimination. Okay, so there's age discrimination, disability, religion, sex, retaliation, race, color, or national origin. Okay, now I happen to be in these categories, disability and religion, because my students do have 2 medical diagnoses and we also do have very deep religious beliefs. Retaliation might be one that we discuss today as well, because you might feel that you've been retaliated against for trying to assert your rights, maybe with an employer or maybe at a grocery store. I know a few people that have been trying to go into grocery stores or like the co-op, and then they were their membership was taken away from them. So that is considered retaliation. So now let me just pull this up for you here real quick one more time. Okay, so here's just a brief description on what types of discrimination there is. A disability discrimination means that if you have an actual condition where you have been diagnosed and it affects one or more major life activities, then you could potentially have a discrimination against your disability. If you feel like your religion does not allow for masks, or you feel like masks are a symbol, then you might be protected under religious discrimination. Okay, and some of you, again, might fall underneath this retaliation if you feel like you have asserted your rights, but then something happened to punish you for asserting your rights, then you could be under that retaliation discrimination. Okay, now I want to talk to you really quick about types of places where you're not allowed to be discriminated against. I know a lot of private businesses have said, hey, we're a private business, we can make whatever rules that we want. To some extent, that is true. But guys, you need to know that if you have a disability, if you have religious preferences, places have to take that into account. I think it might have been CBS News or maybe the New York Times. I don't remember who first published this. It said something to the effect of ADA laws do not give you blanket protection from going in and not wearing a mask. Guys, that's not true. I mean, it's partially true. It doesn't blanket protect everybody from wearing a mask. If you don't feel like you have religious preferences related to that, or you don't have a disability, then obviously you can't assert your rights under ADA or these other laws like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But if you do, then ADA protects you, and so do these other laws. So I pulled this up in my other video about ADA laws, but I'm going to just bring it up one more time. So this is ada.gov. Okay, it talks about public accommodations and what are considered commercial facilities. So these are the types of facilities that have to comply with ADA. I'm just going to read this to you again. Title III prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability in the activities of places of public accommodations. Businesses that are generally open to the public and that fall into one of these 12 categories listed in the ADA, such as restaurants, movie theaters, schools, daycare facilities, recreational facilities, and doctors' offices, and requires newly constructed or altered places of public accommodation, as well as commercial facilities, privately owned, non-residential facilities such as factories, warehouses, or office buildings to comply with ADA standards. Okay. So to say that a restaurant or a movie theater or a privately owned business does not have to comply with ADA laws is just very, very silly. They have to put in wheelchair ramps. They have to put in elevators. They have to give sign language interpreters for the deaf and hard of hearing. Those are all ADA laws, and private businesses have to comply with those laws as well. So guys, your situation might not be exactly the same as mine. You might not feel like you have been discriminated against in the educational setting for your religious beliefs, your disabilities, or retaliation, which we've spoken about as well. But let's say that you've gone to a grocery store and you have been denied access to a grocery store, or you went to the co-op and your membership was revoked because you would not wear a mask. That's retaliation. Let's say that you were embarrassed and made to feel shamed because you have asthma and someone laughed at you in a restaurant and then kicked you out. Guys, all of those are ADA violations. And for a private business to say that they are not is really just a way for them to protect themselves from litigation. So the neat thing about the Idaho Human Rights Commission is that they're part of our government. I guess I should say that they're independent. So they will do their own independent investigation. So as soon as you make a complaint, what it says on their website is they contact the person that you have the complaint against to get their side of the story. So just make sure that you supply them with all the evidence, any documentation that you have. They contact the other person, and then if they feel like there is a violation or a discrimination, they hire attorneys for you and they complete the litigation process. So again, I just really recommend that everybody goes onto humanrights.idaho.gov if you feel that you have been retaliated against, if you have been in an education setting like myself, and your children are being denied access to their through their rights of an education, then please file a civil rights complaint. Again, if you need any help with this or you want to just reach out to me, please do. I just always want to just remind you that I'm not an attorney. I just happen to do my research. I happen to fact check. I happen to look into when someone tells me something, I'm going to double check to make sure that they're not misleading me. And West Ada has really been misleading me. And I feel that there are a lot of parents out there that have been misled into 504 plans or giving up personal medical information when it's against the law. So please, again, reach out to me if you have any questions. I am here to help you. And please come to our event January 7th, 4:15 p.m. at 1303 East Central Drive, Meridian, Idaho, 83642. Thanks for checking in with me.